Final Cut Camera 1.1 is here with some really highly anticipated features. So in this video, using an iPhone 16 Pro, I'm going to show you how to take advantage of all of them. And the very first feature you're going to immediately notice is this new level feature. So I can now tell if my camera is correctly positioned horizontally or vertically. If I need to, I can follow that center dot and see if we are perfectly straight on. If you want to, you can go to the top left in your settings, you can go to tools, and you can enable or disable the level. The next feature is my most highly anticipated and asked for feature, and that is the ability to record in HEVC with Apple Log. Previously, we had to use Apple ProRes, which meant the file sizes were absolutely enormous, something like 6 to 7 gigabytes per minute of video. But now we can record for hours and hours without requiring any sort of external storage. To change this setting, we'll just go to the settings in the top left-hand corner. Then we can change the codec from Apple ProRes over to HEVC. From there, I'll go ahead and back out. Next, we want to make sure we're recording in Apple Log so we get the most dynamic range out of our videos. To make that change, we'll just jump into the color and dynamic range setting and throw it into Log. But this introduces the next most highly anticipated feature, and that is to be able to preview with a LUT. If I have this option disabled, we can take a look at our footage and it's just very bland and hard to look at. If we want to be able to tell what our footage might look like in post, then that is where you're gonna go into your settings, go to color and dynamic range, and enable preview with LUT. You also have the option of doing log to SDR or log to HDR HLG. If you don't really know how to work with HDR footage, then I strongly recommend you just do log to SDR. I'll go ahead and back out, and now we can see just how much contrast this is introduced into our image. So here's a look at before, and here's a look at after. This makes it so much easier to tell if you're getting a good image. You'll also notice in the bottom left-hand corner that it says LUT. That just indicates that we are filming in Log and we are using a preview LUT. It should be noted that this LUT is not baked into the footage and you're not losing any dynamic range when you use it. And the last incredible feature added to Final Cut Pro Camera 1.1 is the ability to film at 120 frames per second. To do so, you'll need to make sure you're in the HEVC codec. It's also going to have to disable stabilization in your camera. I forgot to mention you do need an iPhone 16 Pro to be able to shoot at 120 frames per second in 4K. To get access, we'll just go over to our frame rates by tapping on the left side. We can tap again on the frame rates and we will see 120 frames per second. It's going to let you know that it can't be stabilized, so go ahead and turn off stabilization. And now I can record at 120 frames per second in 4K with Apple Log on just my iPhone. One thing I would like to know is you'll only be able to use a 24mm lens with this specific feature. If you enjoy filming with your iPhone and you want to see what kind of footage you can get out of it, then you might want to check out my travel film that I released a few months ago over from Italy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.